All right, back on the show now is David Burke, who has another big fight this time on December the 10th at Art of War 27 when he faces John Garbarino. David, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Happy to have this interview to get it done. I know we talked a little bit before Thanksgiving and our schedules didn't mesh, but here we are now. I just want to start first there. What was Thanksgiving for you like? Obviously, when you have a fight around the corner, was it hard to stay away from the sweets?
Uh, that part was easy, but I did some traveling, so it was more just like being away from the gym, only for a couple days, but it just felt kind of unnatural being close to a fight. But I think that it was good just for my body more than anything, in my mind, just clear my head and feel good and come back and finish out strong for this weight cut. So it was good. I did some hiking out there too, so that's always
Okay.
fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought I saw on your Instagram that you did some hiking. Where exactly did you guys go?
Smoky Mountains National Park, which is in Tennessee and North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Did you
Yeah.
drive up there?
No, we flew.
You flew. Okay, yeah, that'd probably be a long drive. Did you see any wildlife? What was like the highlight of the trip?
Uh, I saw an elk. We drove right next to an elk. I saw a few coyotes too crossing the road out there. They must have a lot of them, but I think that the highlight was just obviously spending time with family and whatnot, but being out there and seeing any national park is always great. Like I've seen some out west, and then this was my first one on the East Coast actually, so it was really nice.
Yeah, very, very cool. Well, you'll have to come up to Maine. I know we have a couple up here. You got to venture and see. You've never been to any in Maine?
No, so I just moved to Maine. So I'm in southern Maine now, but I do want to check out Acadia.
Yeah.
That's one on my bucket list. But I basically a couple of years ago I started getting into checking out national parks and whatnot, and I was out west at the time, so I got to knock out a few out there. But yeah, I definitely got to do Acadia.
Okay. Well, let me know when you come to Acadia. Hopefully, it's maybe like in the summertime, and we'll get together. I'll buy you a beer or something if you're, as long as you're not in camp, right? You can't do it in camp.
Yeah, right, exactly. But I know.
100%, man. Well, I do know that you were off for a little bit. I believe there was maybe a minor injury that happened to you. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I just had my last fight. I got a small fracture in my right arm. Um, Nothing major, just no surgery, nothing like that. Just typical, just a typical heal time for a fracture. So it's nothing major, and I stayed in shape. So um, I took a little time off, but I was in the gym, so I was staying busy.
Very good. Well, the last time that I did speak to you was right before you fought Ryan Fredette, and holy smokes, man! I mean, I was on the edge of my seat throughout the duration of the fight. For as long as it lasted. Ultimately, you got him out of there. Assess that performance. How happy are you and your team with that win over Fredette?
At the time, I was happy with it. You know, it went well. I was able to stop the takedowns. I got to have some time in there throwing hands a little bit. Um, I think that being a little more patient in general and all that type of stuff that comes with experience, that's all stuff that I'm learning. So I think in hindsight, I could have finished that fight faster now with who I am. But at the time, that's kind of just where I was at. But yeah, I look at that fight now and I feel like I was a little sloppy,
Mhm.
hands down a lot. But on the good side of things, it was a win, and yeah, just it was another one down. So
Did it feel any different for you being, in the cage as a competitor, fighting outside with just the environment the way that it was?
I loved it. I loved that part. I didn't necessarily like warming up outside, like in sight of your opponent and all that. Not that anyone's really like paying attention to each other, but it's just that's one part that I didn't like about the outside. But the actual when you're in the cage, you might as well be inside because you're not really taking anything in as far as that. But the walkout and when I was on deck to like come out to fight, that was the best part because they had a stage like right in the crowd basically. So like I was all pumped up by the time I got into the cage. It was nice.
Did you get a chance to talk to Ryan afterwards?
Um, I saw him briefly. Briefly, I didn't speak to him, but I shook his coach's hands and whatnot, and we were both being taken care of. So,
Mhm.
I haven't talked with him since then, though.
What do you think of just his potential? Because obviously we know his wrestling pedigree, and you're a dangerous matchup for anyone. Let's face it. Like, do you think that he can go back to the drawing board, maybe tighten up a few things, and be a threat here in the New England area?
Yeah, I think definitely. Like we both are learning, and like even in that fight, like we both learned things in that fight. And it's like I knew that was a bad fight for him. I'm like you said, I'm a bad fight for anyone. So it's like I knew I figured it was going to play out that way, but I think that against a lot of other people, he can do really well. I think what it comes down to though is just the type of training you're doing for this is different than what you'd be doing for wrestling. So you might be able to get really good at one sport, but if you can't adjust, and work out with the right people and be at the right place and just everything that comes with it, you're not going to have that same success as you did with another program playing another sport. So it's kind of like I think, and if he ever wanted to work out and train, he's more than welcome to come by and get some rounds in like anytime. So that goes for anyone. If anyone wants to get work in, we're more than what it's an open door. So
Well, I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to come to the gym that you train at. Easily one of the best in the area. Well, if that win over Fredette wasn't nice enough, then you went on and you captured the Cage Titans title in just 21 seconds. I mean, if you picked apart some things from the win over Fredette, I can't imagine there's a whole lot to kind of pick apart from that one. You have to be pretty happy, and it's that's a nice feather in your cap getting that belt for Cage Titans.
yeah, and like that's the and when I look at the second fight I had, I like I said, I thought I was kind of sloppy. And then, just the difference in like a couple weeks from that fight, being able to watch myself in the cage on video and then get it going right into that title fight. Like I was making reads in there, even though it was a quick fight. Like I made a read on his lead hand, reacting to me. So like that helped me get the knockout. And I think that, just being a little more conscious in there than I was against Fredette helped me get the knockout. Because I think you can't hunt for those really. Like they just come with
Mhm.
good punch and making good reads. So
How special was that? I mean, what does it mean to you to win the title for Cage Titans?
it's like more than, it's cool, like the title part of it, but it's more just kind of confirming to myself that I'm doing something that is worth me putting all this energy that I'm putting into it. So it's kind of like I know I can do this, but when you see results in such a short amount of time, it's like, all right, we got something we can work with here. Like this is a real thing. So
Well,
um yeah.
there's no doubt about that, my man. And it kind of leads me to a question I wanted to ask you. So, objectively speaking, when I look at the amateur fighters, let's just say for the NEF, right? That's the New England promotion that I watch the most. I mean, I do the commentary cage side, so I get to see all you guys get in there and compete. You and Jared Turcott are the two guys to me that are scary. You guys both have a tremendous amount of power. You're athletic. You seem to have the total package from the fights that I've seen thus far. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot on the ground of Turcott yet, but from what he looks like on the feet, he reminds me a little bit of you. Is that a matchup that has crossed your mind? I know he's fighting at 205, you're at 185, but has that ever crossed your mind? And how do you think it would play out?
Um, I think that it would be a fun fight for sure. And I've had a few conversations with him on online, briefly, and he's a nice guy, and if he ever comes down to 85 and he wants to make that happen, like I told him I'd be down to do it. So I think that'd be a fun one. But I have a lot of years under my belt grappling and training, and he played football, so he's athletic, but I think that right now there might be a discrepancy in our skill set, but I think overall it would be a good fight.
You said that you talked to him a little bit online. Was that circled around fighting one another?
I think more along lines of I actually think I watched his interview with you, and I wished him luck before his fight, and then after his fight, we talked about doing some cross training together, whatnot. Um, and then he made a post that was saying, going down to 185. So then I hit him up and was like, "Hey, we should do that sometime." So we'll see. You never know.
Man, I would love to see you and him for the 185 title for NEF. That has to be exciting for you. And I know you're not, talking junk or whatever here, but just give me your, I guess, official prediction as to how you think that fight would end. I have to imagine, just based on what you're saying, a lot more experience in the game and training for a while. Do you think you would get him out of there, or is this a fight that could go the distance?
I think I can get anyone out of there, but I think that in that particular fight, I think one of us is getting finished one way or another for sure. For sure.
That to me would be the best matchup amateur wise in New England right now to make 100%. Like I hope Matt Peterson watches this and maybe in 2023 we can see it. Speaking of that, how many more amateur fights are you going to have? Obviously, this you have up next John Garbarino on December the 10th, but how many more times can we see you as an Ami before you turn pro?
I don't know, man. This is I kind of have been debating that, within myself and talking to my coaches and whatnot, but we'll see how this fight goes and go from there. But this is my fourth fight this year, since April. So, or yeah, April or May. So it's like realistically after this fight, regardless of anything, I'm just gonna keep training and just let my body heal up, get fully healthy, which I am healthy, but there's when you're in camp and training, there's always little bumps and bruises, So just really just feeling good and then go from there, see where my weight's at. Cause I'm debating on dropping down to 70. So this fight is at 75 this weekend.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's another thing is I want to, this will be the first time feeling that weight, fighting at that weight this weekend. So that'll be another factor. I'll see how I feel and we'll just go from there.
What's your weight at right now?
Right. We'll keep that one a secret just for tactical purposes.
Okay. Well, the fight's December 10th. It's almost fight night. I know it has to be difficult, as an athlete for yourself to actually be making that weight cut. Like, how are you feeling this week with all the stuff you still have left to do before the fight actually comes to fruition? Like, what's your emotions like?
I'm starting to. I'm definitely starting to feel it a little bit. Even just talking with you a little. It's like when you cut weight, your head's a little. You're kind of like just a little brain fog or something, So I'm just kind of just getting through this week and we're leaving tomorrow, so I'll be there Thursday night and I'll be able to make sure everything's all set for weigh-ins on Friday rather than obviously driving there Friday and being all sucked out and weighing in that same day. So um that'll be good. So it's really just, not getting hurt this last week too when you're kind of depleting yourself a little bit,
Mhm.
just keeping everything feeling good. That's my main focus right now. Just feeling as good as I can for all things considered.
Very good. Well, before we dive into this matchup with John, again, it's December 10th, Art of War 27. Camp is pretty much done for you at Nostos. So just tell me a little bit, who you had around you this camp. Was there anyone in particular that maybe you worked with more than the other guys to help get you ready for Garbarino?
Um, I worked a lot with Kyle Hill this camp. Um, and in the same crew, a lot with Brody too. And basically the same crew that I've been working with. Um, and doing a lot of one-on-one work with Devin and just basically just getting in as much as I can, while still feeling good and, not overtraining. So
Okay.
it's balance.
And how long of a drive is this going to be for you to get to Newton, Pennsylvania? You mentioned getting there Thursday night. Is this going to be a drive where you might be able to just kind of rest and relax? You won't have to worry about being behind the wheel?
I definitely won't be driving. Carolyn will be taking care of that. She helps us out with that. So I'm thankful for that. And it's about 6 hours, I believe. So it's somewhere in that range. So it shouldn't be too bad. But it's one thing to take a road trip when you can like snack and do whatever, but when you're sitting there sipping water, it's like little
I
bits
know.
of water. Best, but it's all right. It's all part of it. I look forward. It's weird. I kind of like cutting weight in a way. It's just like I've done it so many times wrestling, and it gets me in that mindset of like we're about to do this. This is it kind of brings out different things that you wouldn't feel if you weren't putting yourself in this state.
For sure. Well, all that matters is you go there on December 10th and get another victory notched around your belt there. Let's talk about Garbarino. He's 6-3. When I looked at his record, I see all of his losses are by decision. He's got 4 wins by finish. So I have to imagine that you're probably seeking to be the first guy to give him a TKO, KO, or submission loss. Is that ultimately what's going to happen here on the 10th?
Yeah, I really see myself getting a finish here. When it happens, it doesn't matter to me, but that's my prediction is I'll get the finish. We just gotta just fight smart. It's just like you're fighting anyone. That you don't want to get hit, and that's really you want to be landing good shots and scoring points when you can win the judges' eyes. So it's really what it comes down to.
And with you going to Pennsylvania, I have to imagine you're going to be playing the role of the bad guy coming in here. I'm sure he's going to have maybe a lot more fans there in the arena cheering him on. How do you feel like that's going to affect you? Are you excited about that?
Yeah, I definitely feed off the energy that a crowd can bring. And I think that I haven't dealt with like getting booed or any negative crowd actions yet that I've picked up on. So I'm interested to see how they'll respond to everything. And, you know, I think whether they're cheering me on or booing me, I'm gonna eat it up. So I look forward to it either way. I,
Official prediction. Does this
my
have the first round?
my official prediction is that I'm gonna I'm gonna finish him, and you know, man, I don't like getting too specific, but I'm gonna get the finish for sure.
Very good. And as long as you're healthy, David, like when is the ideal time frame? When do you want to step back in there? I know NEF is coming to Bangor in February. Is there any chance we're going to see you on that card?
There's definitely a chance. I want to stay active, but there's a lot of moving parts, like especially because I have this fight coming up. So it's like if all goes well, win or lose, if you're healthy after a fight, that's a blessing. So it's like considering if I'm healthy and then how my weight is and if I'm gonna go pro or not. They've got a lot of things to figure out, but I do want to stay active for the most part. So maybe not 4 fights in a year active, but maybe stick a little less than that, but we'll see.
Okay, very good, man. Well, for anyone that can't be there to watch Art of War 27, is there a way to watch it online? Are they streaming it?
Yeah, it's called the Star Fund app, and yeah, I have a link to it that I'll post in my as a story, and like Nostos, their Instagram, like we'll post that as well. So it'll be posted up on there. And also Art of War Cage Fighting is the promotion. So if you follow them on Instagram, um, I'm sure they're going to be posting some links as well. But I believe it starts at 7 o'clock. So definitely put my last name in there if you buy the pay-per-view.
Very good, my man. Well, always a pleasure talking to you. Before we do sign off, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where they can follow you on social media. If you have anyone to thank, any sponsors, the floor is yours, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to just thank everyone that's helped me out, my teammates, my family, and definitely my sponsors, Hall Brothers, Premium Firewood Services, Mud Flipper Landscaping, mainly exotics. Um, yeah, and just yeah, I'm thankful for all the support too from people that I don't even know and people that I've just met recently in the past year or so, just getting into this fighting and stuff. And that's the craziest part to me is how much people love watching people fight. And it's like It's crazy, but I love it, man. So I look forward to putting on a show.